Well, hello everybody. I'm going to do some welding today on the old Dozer. Got it here in this old dusty barn at my mom and dad's. Full of wood and other junk. My old truck over there and sprockets and front idlers for this Dozer. Hopefully for some time this year to put on. Needs it bad. But we're going to weld right down in here. There's a crack going from here all the way over to somewhere underneath this hydraulic cylinder C-frame. Book just calls it the boom. Every one of these old Dozers I went and looked at like this was always cracked. You can see where they welded plates on both sides. Even on the bottom. It must have been a weak spot for these Dozers. I want to take this hydraulic cylinder off. Already pulled the pin there. Gotta take this pin off. Pull the cylinder off. Take a grinding wheel, grind all that flush, and see where the crack extends to. And try to gouge it out and weld it up. Probably with these 308, let's see, 308 H16 Washington alloy stainless steel welding rods. Make a good strong weld. Or I got these 3/32 70/18s. I'd rather have 1/8 inch, but I don't think I got any. It'd just be a little bit more welding. We're gonna take that cylinder off and see what it looks like underneath there. Try to get it welded up before the rains come. Well, here's what I did. I'm just gonna leave the cylinder on it and just move it from side to side. It's gonna be too big of a job. Took that pin out of the bigger pin that holds the cylinder in, but it needs to come up through this way, and all these hoses right here are in the way. Well, these three will move. This one I can't get out. I gotta take this hose off all the way up into there where the 6-way blade control valve is, and I don't want to do that. That's a lot of hose, and I gotta undo all the zip ties and tie wire, because that don't have one of those kind of fittings on it where the nut just spins. I gotta spin the whole hydraulic hose, and like then it'd twist like that right there, which I don't want to do. I'll have to fix that before I put it all back together. But I'll just move this from side to side like that right there. All I'm going to weld is that right there. Crack, I think it stops right in there somewhere, it looks like. We'll just kick it from side to side. It starts right there. Comes all the way through here, down along that to there. I want to grind all that down flush and gouge it, weld the gouge up, keep that water from getting in there in the winter time and freezing and busting, and that'd hopefully keep it from cracking the rest of the way. The other sides don't look too bad. Somebody put a lot of welds on it before. Put some more on it. know if you can see that or not on this camera, but there's definitely a crack. I found it. Runs all the way down into here, but I can tell. I'll have to move the cylinder over here to find it over here, but I want to grind all that down more and gouge it out. Also, it looks like it goes off this way too. I'm gonna stack the welds back on it. Hopefully be stronger. Go back to grinding. I got it gouged out pretty good. Farther it went down, the bigger the crack got. And luckily it stopped right in here. It kind of curved back. So from here to over here, it's a pretty good sized crack. You can see that on the camera now. What I'm gonna do is probably put on a cutting wheel and just take it down there as deep as I can and open this up. It's beveled now, both sides, and just fill it right on back up. The longest part's gonna be the grinding. The welding won't take that long, but we'll keep going chasing that crack. Alright, I believe I'm as deep as I'm gonna go. You can see a hole there, and I stuck that cutting wheel down in that crack and gouged it out, opened it up. I'll turn the welder up on high and hopefully penetrate that. What I think that is well, fell, is these plates right here. That's added for strength. You can see it's right here. It comes down along here. Probably just a weak weld when they put that on. It just cracked over time. So I'm behind it right here. There's a gap down in there. It must not been tied up against the C-frame here. But now I'm going to go ahead and start welding. Turn the welder up on high, run a few practice welds and a piece of steel, and now we'll go back to welding it up. This is what I'll be welding with today. The old Hobart Stickmate LX. Pretty good little welder. It's AC and DC. Done a lot of welding with it. This don't work. You gotta guess it. That's really the best kind of welders to use, I guess, but you can guess at it. But it's been a good one. I'm gonna weld with some stainless steel rods and go run a few practice welds. Where's my practice welds? That's stainless steel. A little bit rusty. I haven't welded in a while, but I'm gonna go fill them in, fill the cracks. Kicked the breaker. I'm filling her up. Getting there a little bit at a time. I got some bad rods, so some of the welds are looking a little bit sketchy, but I guess that's not looking too bad. Just laying them in there one at a time. I kicked the breaker to the breaker box. It's not a big enough breaker. It'll run the air compressor, but the welder's a little bit much. It's only a 30 amp breaker. I'm gonna have to go get a bigger one. I'm probably gonna have to grind all that down, maybe flush, because this hydraulic cylinder, it'd be a little bit too close, and don't want that rubbing against the frame. That'd make some problems. I'm gonna let that breaker cool down a little bit and finish it up. Hopefully it'll be a little bit stronger than it was before. Well, there's the finished welds. Not really too happy about them, but I guess they'll hold. Not the best looking, but it's welding with rods that got moisture added to them. You can see it, hard to see, but got rust on it. They're a couple years old in here, sitting here in this pole barn. Kind of hard to weld with bad rods, but it's solid. All of them solid welds. Kind of rough over here, but it'll work. If it happens again, I'll just go buy a thing of new rods and weld it back up better. I'll clean it up more with the brush on the grinder. Get all this loose paint off and dirt and what little bit of weld slag might be left. Paint it with this $20 can of John Deere paint. Same color. Pretty expensive. I gotta put this cylinder back on. Put a new pin back there. Take this hose and loosen this in and get the twist out of it. Tighten this back up. Drop some hydraulic fluid in it. Future thing I'd want to do is take this off, send it to a machine shop and have it welded up and drilled. This hole right here, kind of hard to see on the camera, but it's an oval shape. Needs to be round like the top. It's a lot of play, lots of play. Makes grade cutting harder. Go ahead and put some new paint on it. Get it all back together. Ain't gonna be perfect. I'll let that coat dry and put on another coat or two here in a little bit. Well, there's the finished product after being spray painted. Covers up them nasty looking welds, I guess. Next time, if that happens again, I'll go buy a can of new rods. No sense in grinding it down to look flush. It's already a weak point. I couldn't build it up underneath here, of course, because that cylinder is really close to that frame. I don't want that cylinder to rub against it. I'll just make a hole in it or something. I'm gonna tie my hoses back up. Maybe put another coat of paint on it later. It's a little bit thin. Welds would have looked better too. I had to stop right here. Weld a little bit and the breaker would flip on the breaker box, so I went and got a bigger breaker yesterday, a brand new one. a 50 amp. I wanted a 60, but they didn't have it, so I got a 50. But I put it back together. No leaks on the hydraulic lines. Cracks should be all welded up and sealed. So next week I'm probably going to push out a couple stumps and maybe a tree or two. I wanted to get that welded up before I did that. Just depends on the weather and what schedules I'm working. I got to work in Wheeling, West Virginia next week on a bridge, so running out of time, so we'll see what happens. Thanks for watching.